This is Su Hong. He currently living with his aunt and uncle because his parents died when he was 3 years old, and somehow they could not afford him to go to school, so he tried to find a way to help them. He went to an illegal underground boxing and tried to win some money, but he got his ass kicked by this masked guy. The moment he tried to finish him, he got sent off and meet this giant entity. He offer him a golden system and ask him if he want powers. Let's see if he will take it or not. A sharp crack resounds through the training hall as a fist meets flesh. Su Hong winces, the sting of the impact radiating through his arm. His sparring partner notes the impressive progress of Su Hong's diamond fist, questioning if he has already attained the level of subtle mastery. Su Hong confirms he reached that milestone only days ago. In this world, martial proficiency follows a strict hierarchy, ascending from beginner through proficient and subtle mastery, eventually reaching grand achievement and the peak of perfect completion. His partner praises his skill, claiming no one in their class can match Su Hong's diamond fist. The training session is relentless, but eventually the partner yields to exhaustion, opting to head home for a meal. As Su Hong prepares to leave, Teacher Lai reminds him to dress before departing. The atmosphere shifts to gravity when Teacher Lai confronts him about the martial science exam. The registration fee of 30,000 yuan remains unpaid and the deadline looms on the coming Monday. Despite Su Hong's plea for more time, the teacher remains firm, acknowledging the boy's family struggles but insisting that the rules cannot be bent. Sweat drips onto the polished floor as the weight of the 30,000 yuan registration fee settles in Su Hong's mind. Memories of a brutal beast disaster resurface, the tragedy that claimed his parents when he was only 3 years old. Since then, he has lived with his uncle and aunt, who poured their limited resources into his training once his talent became clear. In an era plagued by fierce beasts, becoming a martial artist is the only path to a high-income life. Su Hong clenches his fists, realizing that his pursuit of a better life for his family is currently making their existence even more difficult. Returning home under the cover of night, Su Hong pauses outside the door, overhearing his guardian's desperate conversation. They discuss the overdue rent and the shortfall in their savings. His aunt insists on prioritizing Su Hong's registration fee over the rent, believing his talent is their only hope for the future. His uncle even suggests forfeiting his own medicine to save money, a sacrifice his aunt immediately rejects, vowing to take on another job instead. Stepping inside, Su Hong masks his heartache, greeting them as they worry over his late-night practice. He offers to help with the chores, but they usher him to his room, insisting he rest for the challenges of tomorrow. Lying in bed, Su Hong stares at the ceiling, resolved to solve his own problems rather than burdening his family further. He knows only one place where a martial artist can earn tens of thousands of yuan in a matter of days. The following morning, he stands before the imposing structure of the underground fighting arena. The roar of the crowd is deafening as the announcer welcomes everyone to the Martial Apprentice Arena Challenge, where life and death hang in the balance. Su Hong, now disguised behind a minotaur mask, stands in the ring. The prize is clear: win 4 consecutive matches to claim 60,000 yuan or leave with nothing. The spectators whisper, skeptical of the newcomer's chances. Doubts ripple through the stands, with some calling Su Hong's entry a suicide mission. The arena hostess urges him to hype up the crowd, prompting a confused Su Hong to ask how. She instructs him to provoke and insult the audience, a task the rookie finds jarring. Taking the advice, he lets out a roar, declaring himself invincible below the warrior realm and challenging any weaklings to face him. The crowd erupts in a mix of fury and excitement, calling for his blood. As the match begins, Su Hong feels the heavy weight of killing intent permeating the air. He knows this is his only chance to gather the tuition money, hoping his diamond fist will carry him through. His first opponent, a lithe fighter, mocks his cockiness, but Su Hong remains focused, noticing the man's unstable lower stance. The fight is swift. Su Hong capitalizes on his opponent's hesitation, wondering if the man truly thought he would be an easy target. With a sudden burst of speed, he delivers a crushing blow that sends his foe reeling. The announcer declares the Minotaur's first victory as the crowd's cheers turn to roars of approval. Su Hong stands tall, his first step toward the prize money complete. A new challenger steps forward, a masked man with a powerful build. He mocks Su Hong's luck, claiming it ends now. Su Hong welcomes the challenge, seeing it as a perfect opportunity to test the true power of his diamond fist. The exchange is brutal. As their fists collide, Su Hong realizes his own punch strength is superior. He observes his opponent's technique, noting that the man relies too heavily on upper body force, leaving his waist wide open for a counterattack. Another thunderous impact resounds as Su Hong claims his second and then his third consecutive win. High above the arena, a refined man in a suit watches from a VIP box, noting that while Su Hong isn't yet a quasi-warrior, his strength far exceeds that of an ordinary apprentice. He views Su Hong as the perfect candidate for match fixing. A subordinate hiding behind a mask offers to recruit the boy. The master warns him to keep his advancement to the warrior level a secret. Meanwhile, Su-hong catches his breath, feeling confident that his subtle mastery of the Diamond Fist is enough to handle these ordinary opponents. Only one win remains between Su-hong and the 60,000 yuan prize. The atmosphere shifts as his final opponent enters, White Fox. The crowd gasps, recognizing the fighter and questioning why a quasi-warrior would be matched against apprentices. Su-hong feels the pressure mounting, acknowledging that this match will be difficult, but he refuses to lose. White Fox approaches with an eerie calm, telling Su-hong not to be afraid and claiming he knows how to control his strength. The announcer signals the start of the final match, and both fighters blur into motion. Recognizing the gap in their levels, Su-hong decides his first move must be at full power. He lunges forward, but the collision reveals a terrifying truth. The force behind White Fox's strike is far beyond that of a quasi-warrior. Su-hong realizes he has been deceived. His opponent is a true warrior who deliberately suppressed his blood energy to enter the challenge. White Fox breathes in, unleashing his Thunder Rush fist. The power is overwhelming. A raw display of a true warrior's strength that leaves Su-hong reeling and coughing up blood. The assault is relentless. Spectators recognize the triple Thunder Rush fist, declaring the Minotaur's defeat inevitable. White Fox taunts him, mocking his defensive stance and demanding he show his true strength. Su-hong struggles to stay upright, his vision blurring under the barrage of blows. He knows that if this continues, he will lose everything. He desperately searches for a single opening to launch a counterattack, but the warrior's speed is too great. A final, crushing kick sends Su-hong flying across the ring. As Su-hong lies battered on the floor, his consciousness fading, White Fox stands over him. He informs Su-hong that he won't receive a single cent of the prize money. However, he extends an invitation from his teacher to join their ranks and fix matches. If Su-hong agrees, they will grant him the prize money regardless of the outcome. Su-hong's response is immediate and filled with disdain, calling the offer a shameless act he would never commit. White Fox's tone turns cold, warning him that the price of refusal is unbearable. Su-hong spits back that they have no right to call themselves martial artists. Losing patience, White Fox decides to cripple the boy, vowing to ensure he only becomes a warrior in his dreams. Pain racks Su-hong's body, but his mind remains sharp. He refuses to fall, the image of his aunt and uncle's sacrifices burning in his mind. He thinks of the years they spent supporting him and his desire to provide them with a good life. The choice is clear: give up his beliefs for a corrupt future or find another way. He rejects the deal entirely. A voice asks what he is willing to sacrifice for his family and his beliefs. Su-hong's answer is a roar that vibrates the arena. Everything. A surge of power erupts from within him, his eyes glowing with a fierce light as he stands to face the warrior once more. A voice from a glowing blue interface demands to know what the warrior is willing to sacrifice. Without hesitation, the horned figure enveloped in red energy declares he will give everything. The scene shifts to a young man standing in a vast, dark hall. Looking around at the strange architecture, he asks where this place is. Facing a towering, radiant entity, he demands to know the stranger's identity. He didn't respond back, but suddenly a golden light wraps around him. Su-hong stares at a floating interface, questioning the nature of the display. The screen reveals his personal data, listing his name and his current progress in the Diamond Fist, floating light palm, and void step techniques. Realizing the screen might be touch-operated, he reaches out. A new window opens for the path of the arena quest. It instructs him to hone his skills through hard training, aiming for grand achievement in his fist technique. Because it is a beginner tutorial, no reward is offered. He repeats the words with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. A double of himself appears, striking with the Diamond Fist. Su-hong realizes he is facing his own clone. The clone's movements are more refined and standard than his own. Seeing a perfect example, he resolves not to miss this chance to learn. He wonders if the entity is demonstrating the proper form for him. A sudden strike forces a gasp of alarm. After the exchange, a notification shows his progress has jumped to 10%. Recalling it was only 7% moments ago, he marvels at the speed of his improvement. This space allows him to level up his martial skills with incredible efficiency. The battle continues in a blur of motion. Progress bars flicker as his mastery climbs. Diamond Fist reaches 15%, then 23%, then 50%. Void Step surges from 59% toward 81%. He pushes his body to the limit. Watching as floating light palm hits 100% for subtle mastery. Finally, the Diamond Fist reaches 100%, achieving the rank of Grand Achievement. Exhausted, he lets out a heavy breath as the training concludes. Su-hong offers his thanks to the mysterious space. A notification confirms the completion of the path of the arena quest and asks if he is ready to return to reality. He agrees. Instantly, he stands in a physical arena facing a masked opponent. The challenger calls him a show-off and launches an attack. Su-hong moves with newfound grace, noting that the opponent is far too slow. The match ends with the opponent on the floor. Su-hong demands his prize money for winning the fourth match. The announcer stammers in surprise before declaring Minotaur the victor, awarding him the 60,000 yuan grand prize. In a private box, a stern man watches, questioning how an apprentice could reach grand achievement in the Diamond Fist. He orders his subordinates to follow the boy and uncover his true identity. The guards comply immediately. The pursuers lose their target in the narrow streets, frustrated by their failure to fulfill the boss's orders. Su-hong watches them from above, mocking their attempt to tail him. An hour later, he arrives home. His aunt and uncle stare at the stack of cash, asking if he robbed a bank. He lies, claiming the dojo master decided to sponsor him because of his potential. His uncle reminds him that he previously called that dojo stingy. Su-hong asks if they still doubt him. Seeing his sincerity, they celebrate, noting that their Zio Hong has finally made something of himself. Sitting on the roof under the moonlight, Su-hong feels a sense of relief. The registration fee for the martial exam and the rent are paid. Even his aunt's medical expenses are no longer a concern. He credits the system for helping him survive this crisis. Reviewing his stats, he notices that while his skills have improved, his physical attributes remain stagnant. He discovers 81 martial Dao points earned from defeating a higher-level opponent. A notification explains these points can enhance his blood energy. He decides to test it immediately. As his blood energy hits 90, he realizes he has reached the level of a quasi-warrior. He resolves to dump all remaining points into his blood energy. Warmth spreads through his veins as his physical toughness improves and his lingering injuries heal. Feeling a surge of power, he seeks a place to test his new strength. He heads toward the Star City No. 1 High School outdoor arena. Standing before a Tier 1 combat power tester, he prepares a strike. He decides to use only 70% of his strength for the initial punch. The machine splinters under the impact. Su-hong stares at the wreckage, lamenting that the tester was far too flimsy and worrying about the cost of repairs. A voice booms through the night, demanding to know who is making such a noise. Realizing he must leave, Su-hong flees. An elderly man discovers the broken equipment. Cursing the person responsible, he assumes the culprits are two students named Chen Gan and Lai Tu. He vows to teach those two a lesson once school begins. The gymnasium of Star City No. 1 High School hums with the restless energy of 1,000 students gathered under the high-beamed ceiling. Whispers ripple through the bleachers, questioning how Chen Shan ended up so battered and bruised. Rumors circulate that he destroyed a combat tester in the arena in the middle of the night and refused to confess, earning a harsh punishment from the principal. Some speculate he simply took the blame for another. Principal Lai commands silence, stepping to the microphone to introduce his old comrade-in-arms. Chen Tian, a Tier 3 warrior, stands ready to demonstrate a C-rank martial art, the Thunder Rush Fist. The students recognize the gravity of the moment, knowing such instruction in outside dojos usually costs hundreds of thousands in tuition. Su-hong identifies the movements, recognizing the technique as the same one utilized by the mysterious White Fox. The power of a single strike carrying the force of 3 is undeniable, and he realizes he must seize this opportunity. Chen Tian wastes no time with pleasantries, announcing he will demonstrate the form 10 times, leaving the depth of their learning to their own efforts. The rustle of his uniform accompanies every strike as he explains that the Thunder Rush Fist is defined by its overbearing power. Reaching the beginner level produces a single clap of thunder. Proficiency yields 3 claps, while subtle mastery grants 5. To achieve grand achievement is to strike with 7 distinct thunders. Chen Tian lunges, his movement a blur as he showcases his own realm of grand achievement, his fists cutting through the air with audible force. He warns that perfect completion allows for 9 claps, but urges the students to aim for the beginner level first, as the path is long and arduous. A few hours of grueling practice follow under the harsh gymnasium lights. Exhaustion claims the majority, their limbs feeling heavy as they slump against the bleachers, lamenting that C-rank arts are far beyond their reach. Su-hong is nowhere to be found, his previous position now empty. Suddenly, a sharp crack rings out, drawing every eye to the center of the floor. Chen Shan, the school's celebrated genius, lets out a triumphant laugh as he successfully reaches the beginner level. Principal Lai invites Chen Tian to offer the boy guidance, praising his talent. However, the warrior remains unimpressed. He scoffs at the suggestion, stating that what passes for genius in this small city would barely qualify as a passing student in a true martial metropolis. Outside the main building, Chen Tian expresses his disappointment to Principal Lai, feeling his time was wasted on such a lacking batch of students. Lai defends his pupils, noting that even one beginner is a success. Chen Tian remains firm. Talent is the cruel gatekeeper of the martial path, and hard work without fortune is never enough. Their conversation is cut short by a series of booming cracks that rumble through the air. A student stands amidst arcs of electricity on the training field, his form radiating power. Before they can process the sight of a 7-clap grand achievement, 2 more claps erupt, reaching the legendary 9. Chen Tian stands paralyzed, unable to believe a student achieved perfect completion in a single afternoon. The resonance of the 9 claps triggers a breakthrough in Chen Tian, pushing his own technique to 8 claps. He realizes the student's display enlightened him, a feat he thought impossible in this lifetime. He and the principal sprint toward the source. But the field is empty. Su Hong is already blocks away, his body heavy with the fatigue of mastering a C-rank skill, far more exhausting than the D-rank Diamond Fist. His internal interface confirms his Thunder Rush Fist has reached perfect completion. His blood energy stands at 91.7 and his spirit at 23. Though his physique remains a mortal body, his mastery of the Diamond Fist, Floating Light Palm, and Yao Step is formidable. He knows he must now secure martial Dao points to ascend to the rank of warrior, wondering if a normal spar can provide them. His path leads him to his place of employment, the Rage Thunder Dojo. Su Hong enters the familiar gates of the dojo as the sun begins to set. A fellow student greets him, surprised by his sudden appearance. Su Hong explains he simply came for extra practice. The piece is broken by a heavy thud and the sharp bang of a body hitting the floor. In the center of the hall, a purple-haired disciple named Lai Yan kicks a fellow student to the ground. Lai Yan snarls, mocking those who blame his teacher's instruction for their own lack of comprehension. Su Hong's companion explains that the new instructor is powerful but treats commoners with disdain, a trait mirrored by his arrogant disciple Lai Yan. Lai Yan prepares to strike again, but Su Hong catches his wrist with an iron-like grip. He suggests they stop at light contact, but Lai Yan is incensed, demanding Su Hong let go and challenge him in the ring. Su Hong agrees to humor him just as the head instructor arrives, demanding to know the cause of the noise. The man announces the final lesson for the Rage Sea Spear technique, warning that he will only demonstrate the form once. He looks upon the crowd with a sneer, certain that none of the useless lot before him will grasp its complexity. The instructor sweeps his spear, the weapon whistling through the air with the momentum of a surging flood. Students in the back complain about the lack of visibility, calling the single demonstration a scam. Su Hong remains still, his eyes tracking every rotation and shift in weight. The core of the technique becomes clear, a spear that moves like a flood dragon diving into a restless sea, its momentum surging like giant waves. He grips a training spear, and the air around him begins to vibrate. With a sudden burst of speed, he executes the form perfectly, drawing gasps of disbelief from the surrounding students who realize he has truly learned it. The hall erupts in noise as the students realize a martial arts prodigy stands among them, questioning if they were simply too slow to learn. Lai Yan tracks Su Hong with a predatory curiosity, his initial anger replaced by a desire to test the depth of the boy's skill. He approaches, offering to give Su Hong some pointers on his spear technique. Su Hong's friend warns him of the disciple's malicious character and real strength, but Su Hong remains calm. He tells his friend to relax and asks for guidance. Lai Yan lunges with a roar, calling Su Hong an arrogant brat as he thrusts his spear forward. The spears clash with a deafening impact, the vibration traveling up their arms as wood meets wood. Lai Yan unleashes the Rage Sea Spear technique at the level of subtle mastery, his strikes fluid and dangerous. Su Hong counters with a proficient-level execution of the same art, his movements precise and powerful. The sight of a commoner student matching his technique leaves Lai Yan reeling in total shock, his eyes wide as he realizes his opponent's spear carries the same surging momentum. An onlooker marvels at the speed of this progression, unable to comprehend how the youth reached such a level before even becoming a formal warrior. Defeating a higher-level opponent yields 35 martial Dao points. Su Hong realizes that even ordinary sparring matches provide these rewards, concluding that frequent challenges are necessary to grow his power. On the ground, the defeated warrior, Lai Yan, stammers that this outcome is impossible. He cannot fathom how someone mastered the Rage Sea Spear technique so rapidly. Despair takes hold as he questions the value of his own years of grueling training and what his hard work was even for. His frustration boils over into a shout, but a stern voice commands him to stop. Looking up at his teacher, the student is met with a harsh reprimand. The master declares that those who cannot accept defeat are no true martial artists. He reveals the staggering truth to those gathered. The boy learned the proficient level of the technique after seeing it demonstrated only once. The master muses that even the geniuses of the imperial capital do not possess such exaggerated talent. While Lai Yan has skill, his arrogance is a burden, making this defeat a necessary lesson for his future. Turning to Su Hong, the master asks for forgiveness, blaming his own lack of discipline for his student's behavior. Su Hong notes how quickly the man's attitude shifted. Exhaustion sets in as the youth walks through the night, yet he finds satisfaction in his gains. He has mastered the Thunder Rush Fist and the Rage Sea Spear technique while securing 35 martial Dao points. With the school exam at Star City No. 1 High School approaching in a few days, Su Hong knows his wealthy peers are already equipped with high-grade alloy weapons. He decides to adopt the spear as his primary tool but faces a grim reality. His savings of 698,000 are reserved for his aunt's medical treatment. Buying an alloy spear seems impossible with his current funds, forcing him to seek new ways to earn money. News spreads that fierce beasts are proliferating outside Star City, prompting the city lord to offer generous rewards for hunters. Su Hong considers the risk of leaving the city to hunt these creatures. Inside his home, his aunt questions his uncle's persistence in working despite the money Su Hong provided previously. The uncle insists on shielding the youth from the household burdens, wanting to save for the children while he still can. Su Hong enters, announcing his return. His aunt urges him to rest, but he immediately offers to help her. He tells his uncle to retire and focus on caring for his aunt, promising that his own earnings are sufficient. The uncle smiles, admitting he cannot remain idle but vows not to overexert himself while covering daily expenses. Su Hong watches his aunt, knowing her health is the priority. He realizes his relatives will never truly rest until he secures enough wealth to ensure their future. This realization fuels his resolve to hunt the fierce beasts for the bounty. He decides to invest all his earned martial Dao points into his blood energy to maximize his strength. A surge of power follows as his blood energy rises to 95.2. He stands just one step away from becoming a true warrior. 2 days later, after training his skills to perfect completion at the school gymnasium, Su Hong decides it is time to leave the city. He arrives at the Star City Warrior base on Saturday, noting the vast distance he traveled. Though he has seen the base on television, the reality of seeing warriors everywhere is striking. A list of bounties displays the value of various threats, from unranked beasts worth 300 blue star coins to Tier 1 upper stage beasts worth 5,000. The requirement to present a severed left ear as proof of the kill strikes him as primitive. Nearby, a hunter asks an attendant to calculate the value of a bag filled with these grim trophies. A commotion breaks out as guards demand everyone move for young Master Yi. Su Hong observes the man's demeanor, finding him reminiscent of a figure known as White Fox from the underground arena. Onlookers whisper about the young master's arrogance. Noting he only remains untouched because his uncle is the base director, rumors circulate that he was recently beaten, a fact that brings satisfaction to the crowd. Su Hong internalizes the lesson that humans are as dangerous as any beast. He resolves to be extremely careful. An older man notices Su Hong's youth and questions if he truly intends to enter the wilderness alone for the first time. Su Hong confirms his intent with a simple nod, leaving the man to sigh at what he perceives as another ignorant and fearless child. The youth enters the forest, determined to return with a full haul. 2 hours pass without a single sighting. He wonders if the outskirts have been picked clean by other hunters. To find his prey, he decides to venture deeper into the dense trees. A rustling in the brush precedes the appearance of a Tier 1 lower stage beast. Su Hong recognizes it from his textbooks as a shadow moon wolf, marking his first encounter with a living specimen. The creature lets out a piercing howl and lunges forward, its jaws snapping as it leaps toward the young warrior. The warrior meets the charge head-on, his arm glowing with power as he executes the Thunder Rush fist. A pained howl rings out through the clearing as the strike connects, sending the beast reeling. Standing over the fallen carcass, the warrior reflects on the sensation of combat. The thrill of fighting monsters exceeds his wildest imagination. His hand trembles slightly from the rush of adrenaline. The fact that a Tier 1 lower stage fierce beast falls to a single move becomes clear, prompting the question of how he would fare against a Tier 1 middle stage opponent. Almost on cue, a raging black bear, identified as a Tier 1 middle stage fierce beast, emerges with a deafening roar. After the struggle, the warrior stands victorious over the bear's massive body. His current strength ensures his safety as long as he avoids Tier 2 fierce beasts. Thoughts of a 3,000 reward cross his mind. A sharp chime rings out as the system provides a reminder. His accumulated martial Dao points are sufficient to break through to the rank of warrior. He resolves to level up as soon as possible while another roar vibrates through the forest. A heavy, suffocating presence fills the air. The warrior questions what kind of beast could possess such power. Driven by curiosity, he moves to check it out. He navigates the dense foliage and climbs a rocky outcrop. Below him lies a Tier 1 upper stage fierce beast, the black jade python. The massive serpent coils with scales like dark stone. Suddenly, a terrified scream erupts. Another group of fighters is already engaged, their shields splintering under the python's weight. The warrior watches as a man is hurled through the air by a massive impact. The python strikes with blinding speed. A sharp crack signals the force of the blow. The warrior is caught in the chaos. The impact forcing a heavy cough as blood spatters the dirt. He wipes the gore from his chin with a grim expression. Nearby, a man lies broken on the ground. Reaching out, the warrior grips a discarded weapon and asks to borrow the spear. Facing an upper stage fierce beast typically requires the combined effort of several warriors. However, the warrior has honed his martial skills to perfect completion. He believes his mastery allows him to slay even middle stage beasts with ease. He decides he possesses the ability to fight the black jade python. He initiates the Rage Sea Spear technique. Water-like energy swirls around the spear tip as he lunges. The strike is perfect, driving deep into the serpent's thick hide. The python roars in agony. Undeterred, the warrior prepares to strike one more time. He tightens his grip on the spear as blue energy flares around his body. He moves with focused intent, his eyes locked on the target. Another massive impact rumbles through the clearing as he continues his relentless assault. He recognizes that the vast size difference makes a single fatal blow impossible. Strategy dictates weakening the creature as much as possible before seeking a killing opening. He executes a perfect Thunder Rush fist, declaring the move's completion. A heavy rumble is followed by a series of tremors. After each successful attack, he immediately creates distance from the python. He plans to find an opportunity, launch another attack, and then quickly disengage. This style of fighting proves tiring, but it remains safe. Breath hitches in his chest as he pauses to recover. Only a few more circles are needed to take it down. The beast lets out a low, guttural sound as it trembles. With renewed resolve, he declares they should continue. A sharp hiss and a snap of bone follow as the warrior readies his next move. A sudden projectile whistles through the air, cutting the moment short. The warrior demands to know who is there. Mocking laughter descends from above as a figure with a flaming fist strikes the ground. The force of the landing causes the warrior to cough again. He demands to know the identity of these people. A group of armed men emerges from the trees, their presence menacing. Their leader notes that they meet again and suggests the warrior hand over the black jade python.